Hello my fellow readers, I am back with another light novel review. I haven't talked about one for a little bit, and this one is a returning favorite. I swear I won't bother you again, because this is volume 5, and volume 5 wraps up the series. So this is now completed at 5 volumes, which I actually thought it would be able to wrap up before this, but I am so glad it finished at 5 because I don't know how they could have dragged the story on farther. We pretty much had everything resolved really by the end of the last volume, and so this just, I don't know, gives us a better ending and epilogue to the story. I think when we left off, Violet had just escaped, I guess. I'll use escaped with Yulan. They had decided to get engaged and were going to live in his little house, apartment, I don't remember what it was, that he had set up for her. They took Marin with them, who of course has been Violet's, I don't even want to say serving girl. I mean, it's her best friend, really. I mean, yes, she serves her, but they've been together for years. And the cook ends up so upset at Violet's father that he also has left. I think he had punched him, if I remember. That's all happened before in the previous ones. And so with this, we really are starting with them just deciding upon what their next steps are in their relationships. So we know that they're going to end up married, but it's really them deciding the time frame. So at this point, they're engaged, but also they're not going to do anything until after Yulan has graduated, and he, of course, if you remember, is a year behind Violet in school. So I think Violet has to still get through her final year, and then Yulan has another year after her to get through. And so it really just kind of wraps up everything that they've been doing. And I guess at the same time also wrapping up the story of Yulan's brother. That, they don't really acknowledge the fact that that's his brother, but in case you don't remember, Yulan was the illegitimate son of the king, and we're assuming, I think, a noble lady, because I think Yulan's house and everything is from her family, and I don't think we ever find out what happened to her. She just kind of disappeared. Anyway, and then I think also, if I remember correctly, didn't Violet's maternal grandparents also help them get set up? I don't, that part, not important. I don't really, I mean, it is important, but I also don't really care, because of course we know that her mother is dead, and that's what allowed her father to marry the woman that he was having an affair with all those years ago. And for the most part, I did like this, and most of it wraps up pretty quickly. We do see the prince end up getting married to Violet's friend. Was her name Rose? It's another flower name. So I'm ew, I think it was Rose. Oh, I feel so bad that I forgot it now. Rosette. I know it was something with flower. So he does end up marrying Rosette, who was his destined fiancée, even though in the past life that Violet lived and died in, he ended up with her sister. In this one, he follows the actual path because he was engaged the whole time to Rosette. So even though in the beginning Violet was trying to, and I'm talking about her previous life, marry the prince, and none of that would have mattered really, because he was supposed to marry Rosette. So in this timeline, he actually does. They, start as just, they accept their kind of arranged marriage, but then they do actually become closer. They end up getting married. They end up having a kid. And it's very interesting because there's a whole political story interwoven with that, with the fact that it's the golden eyes that are revered. So they have a son, but he does not have golden eyes. He has his mother's eyes. He looks a lot like his father, but has his mother's eyes. And so it's also trying to get the old nobility and the people of the country to accept the fact that their prince does not have to have these golden eyes. It doesn't actually mean anything. But Yulan at the same time is afraid of that, because he's worried that if he and Violet have a child and the child has its father's eyes, that there could be a faction that would try to get a rebellion going. It does turn out that and FYI, if you're watching this, big spoilers, it does turn out that they do have a child, and nothing's too bad. Like, I'm just going to say that, but read about it if you want. It's so cute. Everything gets wrapped up. It's a happy ending, really, for everyone. And the only part I didn't love about this is kind of the epilogues, just because I don't feel like they were necessary. There are some like epilogue / side stories that are, one is from like the perspective of Violet's mother and her obsession with Violet's father. And it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of boring to me because I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't really care about being in her head. Like, she obviously lost the plot a little bit and was not healthy mentally. Then we follow Violet's stepmother and her love and obsession for the father. And we know how that turned out. And again, she was not mentally healthy. And we get a little bit more too about Violet's sister, who now I can't even remember her name. I feel terrible. I don't know why. Mary June. I'm like, it's a name I know. We also follow a bit of Mary June's future in the epilogue, because unlike the original timeline where she did end up a fiance to the prince, in this timeline, you know, her family's not in a good place by the time of the end of volume 4, and at this one, she ends up having to get engaged to an older noble gentleman. I think he is noble, if I remember. And so we're not sure how things are going to be for Mary June, but the author does tell us she thinks everything will be fine in Mary June's life. I do feel kind of bad for Mary June, because she's annoying and she did a lot of selfish and spoiled things, but there was a lot of ignorance on her part. Like, she had negative actions a lot through ignorance. She didn't understand that people could have a more difficult life than her. Like, I mean, that not everybody was blessed to have loving parents. She never even realized the fact that her being born to her parents the way that she was, like when her father was already married and she's an illegitimate daughter, like the impact of that, even for like Violet, like she very innocently was just like excited to have this sister that she expected to just love and adore her the way that everybody else did. So is she an annoying character? Yes, but I don't think she was an evil character, so I don't wish anything bad for her. And I feel like the author is sort of saying that in the epilogue for the book. It's like, you know, she's not a perfect person, but we shouldn't make her a total villain either. Like, she just kind of was ignorant about life in general and just assumed that everything would turn out her way because that's what she was raised to believe would happen. Her parents allowed her very much to have that perspective and just be ignorant to the rest of reality. So, you know, it's just, it is what it is. In general, though, I loved this series. It's a fast series, which I wasn't expecting it to be this quick, but I'm so glad it was, because I think getting in there, telling the story, letting the characters grow and develop, which they did, and then letting it go is the best way to handle it. I really get so frustrated when series drag on and on and on. You know, just bringing in like ridiculous plot things, like, oh, suddenly this character is attracted to the main character. Is she going to leave her part? No, it's never going to happen. And it's just a way to milk more money. So I'm so glad this did everything very effectively, impactfully, and quickly. I don't have too many negatives. I mean, like I said, other than the epilogues, especially with the two mothers, which I was just like, oh, I think there's one from the father's perspective as well, if I remember correctly. Anyway, I didn't care about any of those characters. I really didn't want to be in their heads. So that was a little bit of a slog to me. But the rest of it, I was more excited for. I thought it was very well done. Like, I liked it. I was just trying to see like when it officially ended. It ended at like page 195, which was a good chunk of the book, I'd say. But then 197 through, I don't know, like 250 is all the like stories from other perspectives, and I just didn't care. Other than Mary June, like just seeing what was happening with her and what to anticipate, because like I said, I can't totally like hate on her. I think she didn't know what she didn't know. So is what it is. Very enjoyable. I love the series. I would totally recommend it. If you haven't gotten it, if you're thinking about reading it, go ahead and pick it up. It is very, very good. I would love to continue the manga as well. I just realized that it's been a while since I read the manga version, so I would like to finish up that way too, because I love the artwork for the manga. I think the manga did a beautiful adaptation. The manga, I feel like, had more scenes that I don't think were in here, which I don't know if the author added those on or what happened. Like there was the one where she was helping, and I don't recall it happening in the light novel. Correct me if I'm wrong, because it's been so long since I started reading them. But in the manga, I do remember there was the scene with like her and Mary June where she was helping Mary June practice for the recital, and she was doing that in order to have Mary June stand out to the prince, but it kind of made her stand out to him because she was helping. Do you remember that? And I don't recall that happening in the light novel, but I could be wrong. I feel like the light novel focused much more on Yulan and Violet. I feel like the rest of the stuff didn't matter as much. So I almost feel like the manga is having more scenes and filling it out more. But I could be wrong. But I would love to go and see where I left off and then fill in the rest of that. It probably will be a while before I do that. Just looking at like budgeting and the holidays and whatnot. But I still would love to, because this is definitely a favorite of mine. And like I said, I loved the artwork for that manga. I just thought it was really good. So that is it for this video. Definitely recommend this. That's all I gotta say. Until next time, bye.